Hello, I'm Pastor Abraham J. Nwoko. Today, we challenge the notion that Africans are slaves. It's a narrative that's been perpetuated for far too long, a harmful stereotype used to justify oppression. But it's time to set the record straight. The story of Africa is not a monolith. It's a tapestry woven from countless cultures, empires, and innovations. This isn't just about righting historical wrongs. It's about understanding the true legacy of a continent and its people. Before the skyscrapers of Dubai, before the Colosseum in Rome, Africa was a cradle of civilization. We're talking about societies so advanced, so sophisticated, that they make some of today's modern marvels look like kindergarten projects. Take ancient Egypt, for example, a civilization that flourished for over 3,000 years. They were masters of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. They developed a written language, a complex system of governance, and architectural wonders that still boggle the minds of experts today. And let's not forget about the Kingdom of Kush, a powerful empire that rivaled Egypt itself. These were masters of trade, with cities adorned with palaces and temples that spoke to their wealth and influence. And then there's Great Zimbabwe, a city of stone that rose from the African plains, a testament to the architectural genius of its people. These ancient civilizations weren't just building blocks. They were building empires that left an indelible mark on the world. They were centers of learning, commerce, and innovation, proving that Africa's contributions to human civilization started long before any colonial encounter. The ruins of these civilizations aren't just tourist attractions. They're reminders of a time when Africa stood tall, a time when its influence stretched far and wide. So the next time someone tries to tell you about Africa's history, remind them of its ancient civilizations, remind them of the empires that time forgot. Long before the arrival of Europeans, the continent was a run for its money. We're talking about complex think twice. Let's journey to the Mali Empire, a kingdom so wealthy that its ruler, Mansa Musa. We're talking about a king who casually strolled across Africa with so much gold that he single-handedly destabilized the economies of There's the Benin Kingdom, known for its exquisite museums around the world. These weren't just pretty and in society. And let's not forget about the Ashanti Empire, a kingdom that held its own against British colonialism for decades. The Ashanti were renowned for their military prowess, their intricate gold empires, remind them of the rulers, the scholars. Now, we can't talk about Africa's history without addressing the elephant in the room, the transatlantic slave trade. This wasn't just a dark chapter in human history, it was a period of unimaginable cruelty, exploitation, and barbarity. For centuries, millions of Africans were ripped from their homes, their families, and their cultures, forced onto ships under the most inhumane conditions imaginable. They were treated like cargo, branded, shackled, and subjected to horrors that defied description. This wasn't just about forced labor, it was about the systematic dehumanization of an entire people, an attempt to strip them of their dignity, their identity, and their very humanity. But even in the face of such adversity, the spirit of resistance never died. From shipboard revolts to the establishment of maroon communities, Africans fought back against their oppressors, clinging to their traditions, their languages, and their hopes for a better future. The transatlantic slave trade wasn't just an African tragedy, it was a global tragedy, a stain on the conscience of humanity. We must never forget the horrors of the slave trade, but we must also remember the strength, the courage, and the unwavering spirit of those who endured it. The end of colonialism didn't magically erase the scars of the past, but across the African continent, a new spirit emerged, a spirit of determination, of self-reliance, and of hope. Nations that had been artificially divided, their resources plundered, their people oppressed, were finally free to chart their own destinies. It wasn't easy. The legacy of colonialism cast a long shadow, and many African nations faced tremendous challenges: poverty, political instability, and the lingering effects of exploitation. But amidst these challenges, stories of resilience, innovation, and progress began to emerge. We saw the rise of visionary leaders, men and women who dedicated themselves to rebuilding their nations, to investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The narrative was changing, moving away from the tired tropes of poverty and despair to one of dynamism, creativity, and boundless potential. You can't talk about global civilization without acknowledging the immense contributions of Africa. From the very beginning, Africa has been a wellspring of innovation, creativity, and knowledge, shaping the world in countless ways. Let's start with the obvious, shall we? Coffee. That magical elixir that fuels our mornings and powers our productivity originated in Ethiopia. So next time you're enjoying that cup of joe, remember to thank the African continent for that much-needed caffeine boost. And speaking of innovations, let's talk about mathematics. The ancient Egyptians developed complex geometric principles that are still used in architecture and engineering today. They were masters of astronomy, developing calendars and tracking the stars with remarkable accuracy. African music, with its infectious rhythms and soulful melodies, has influenced musical genres across the globe, from jazz and blues to salsa and samba. African art, with its bold colors, intricate patterns, and powerful symbolism, continues to inspire artists and art lovers worldwide. The contributions of Africa to global civilization are vast and undeniable. For far too long, Africa has been viewed through a distorted lens, a lens clouded by prejudice, misinformation, and the lingering legacy of colonialism. This distorted view has given rise to harmful stereotypes, painting a picture of Africa that is not only inaccurate but deeply damaging. One of the most pervasive stereotypes is that Africa is a homogeneous entity, a single country rather than a diverse continent with 54 unique nations, each with its own history, culture, and identity. This monolithic view ignores the incredible diversity of languages, religions, ethnicities, and traditions that exist within Africa. Another harmful stereotype is that Africa is a continent stuck in the past, a place of poverty, conflict, and underdevelopment. While it's true that many African nations face challenges, this narrow view ignores the incredible progress that has been made in recent decades. It ignores the burgeoning economies, the technological advancements, and the vibrant arts and culture scenes that are thriving across the continent. Africans have made and continue to make significant contributions to every field of human endeavor, from science and technology to the arts and humanities. It's time to shatter these stereotypes, to move beyond the simplistic narratives and engage with the true complexity and richness of Africa. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked in discussions about Africa: religion. When people think of religion, they often picture it in a very specific way, a way that's been shaped by centuries of Eurocentric tradition. But the truth is, religious and spiritual beliefs are as diverse as the people who hold them, and Africa is no exception. From the ancient spiritual traditions that have been passed down through generations to the arrival of Christianity and Islam centuries ago, Africa has a rich and complex religious tapestry. In many African cultures, religion isn't just something you practice on certain days of the week. It's an integral part of daily life, woven into the very fabric of society. It influences everything from music and art to social customs and moral values. So, as we explore the rich tapestry of religious and spiritual beliefs in Africa, let's open our minds to new possibilities. Let's challenge our preconceived notions, and let's embrace the beauty of diversity in all its forms. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to educate and spread awareness about Africa's rich history and cultural heritage. Together, we can challenge, journeyed through time, explored ancient civilizations, marveled at powerful kingdoms, and confronted the horrors of slavery. But we've also witnessed the resilience of a people, the rise of independent nations, and the countless contributions of Africa to the world. It's time to embrace a new narrative, one that celebrates Africa's diversity, its dynamism, and its boundless potential. Because when we understand Africa's true story, we understand the story of humanity and of the enduring power of the human spirit.